So order is going to be biopower, cellular ethanol, climate change, environment, civil aviation, drones, and case. And this is actually a redo of my 2AC from round 1 of Auburn. I did really badly in that speech and I spent my 2 hour talking entirely about framework for 5 minutes. So I'm basically going to respond to their points for 5 minutes in the speech, even though it's constructive, because this speech in general didn't really go that well. Okay. So, starting off with your biopower. This is not the same old framework. Our interpretation is that the plan should be the focus of the debate, not the framing of the 1AC. They can only win if they prove the plan causes something bad, but not if they just prove the logic that the 1AC justifies something bad. A. Plan focus. It's a stable advocacy while the representations of the 1AC are fluid and can never be pinned down. It's impossible for us to defend all possible framings of the 1AC. The AF would always lose. B. Irrational decision making. Alternative frameworks allow judges to vote for the plan even if they know it's a bad idea, just because it has good justifications and vice versa. This would never occur in the real world and is a ridiculous model for debate. And C. We do allow for critiques. However, they must be linked to plan action, not the logic behind the plan. Peremptory vote, that solves. Endless investigation of power makes real struggles and oppression possible. Hicks, 3. The only ethical political choice we have when that Foucault thinks we must make every day is simply to determine which of the many insidious forms of power is the main danger. We hold in ubiquitous power, perils of normalization precludes that question our usual constants and habitual patterns of behavior, also close approximation in the ethical political sphere to the identity of aestheticism. And biopower is a description of our era. It is neither inherently good nor bad. Our specific context is more important than their sweeping generalization. Dickinson, 4. Power should not be read as a universal sexually and every person are essentially or effectively the same. Part of the set of social relations have varying degrees of having an effective subjectivity. One is instruction, one is radically driven coherence. And critiques of power are so localized that they prevent coalition forms that could genuinely fight oppression. Cook, 92. He noted in Helen and Sylvia that folks connect global structure to other localized struggles to make modes of oppression their localized articulation. Focus emphasis on the techniques of discourse knowledge that constitute the human that are often images because it was not simply constituted by systems knowledge, also constitute hegemonic and counter-hegemonic systems of knowledge as well. And methodology epistemology is not a prerequisite for specific claims and means nothing in a vacuum. We can make the right conclusions from the wrong method and only evaluate empirics and substance. Owen, 2002. Additionally, we don't have any link from NextGen to biopower. They use the phrase specifically that we're moving people like sardines and treating them as if they don't have any human dignity. However, there's no link from instating a project that's going to cut efficiency and improve the quality of life for people to dehumanizing them. And because there's absolutely no link, disregard this critique completely on a counterplan. Perm do both. No reason why NextGen ethanol competitive. Perm do the counterplan. This is solving the deficit. Airplanes are still going to use regular oil. Their ethanol is useless for mitigating airplane emissions. That's the biggest. That's Dalton and Bonnefoy. The AF is a key internal to warming. That's NASA. There's no oil dependency. U.S. oil production is very high. Coleman, 12.4. Domestic crude oil production system hit the highest monthly output than. Oh wait, scratch that card. Their cellular ethanol counterplan does not solve for the environment because it's not going to be relevant to airplanes in any context. This isn't airplanes. It's not unique because airplanes are still going to be used. They simply won't be using ethanol because current airplanes use oil, and NextGen is simply trying to cut down the inefficiencies. Additionally, this turns case because ethanol, the production of ethanol causes famine. It takes away from viable crops, and so it doesn't solve for it. Not only does it not solve for planet, it completely turns case because one of their main impacts for their environment advantage is famine. If their counterplan only causes more famine, then it can't solve the growing problem at risk. On a climate change, so the red cards such as Haber 2011 saying that there was no impact and that CO2 was good. However, in their environment DA, also red cards cross-apply Roderick 98 and Tox 96 that said that warming and environmental problems are human caused. They can't solve with their ethanol counterplan if they're contradicting themselves by reading this evidence. Also, it's non-unique because okay, scratch that. Back to environment. It's non-unique. Airplanes already exist, and cutting down inefficiencies on fuel costs and time spent in the air in delay is only going to improve the environment rather than hurt it more. We don't have any visible incentive for people to ride airplanes more. We're simply trying to cut down on existing inefficiencies. They completely misinterpret our case. Okay, back onto climate change. The airplanes. Okay, cross-apply Rodgers and Tuckx saying that warming is anthropogenic and Since they haven't offered a viable way to solve the growing problem with their ethanol counterplan, NextGen is the only way to solve. Okay, on a civil aviation. The written card saying that Keynes fails. This is there's no link to our case. We're trying to cut down on existing efficiencies. We're not even talking about a multiplier or a stimulus. We're talking about cutting down time spent in the air, cutting down fuel costs, and cutting down time spent in the air, fuel costs, and allowing the airline industry to become what it actually has the potential to become. The airline industry is resilient because it hasn't fallen yet. However, exploitation of trade, we've proved, is what actually causes nuclear war, and currently these inefficiencies are holding back the industry from what it could be, despite the fact that it hasn't fallen yet. Okay, on a drones. Also, Turns case, they argue that we have no impact. However, in our card, it's clearly highlighted that the impact of no drones is decreased agriculture and decreased economy, and also potential for war. They're talking about a famine impact in their environment decide. However, not only does their ethanol counterplan turn the case, but our drones also do, because drones are vital to agriculture and vital to actually feeding the nation and keeping it healthy. It's imperative that we have drones through NextGen in order to avoid this impact that the stated will happen. Okay, on a case, their Hanley card says that we already have funding. Yes, funding for NextGen currently is available. However, it's completely insufficient. The bill they're talking about has only reauthorized funding instead of actually giving NextGen the boost it needs to succeed as an industry. They read cards saying that NextGen will fail and that there are barriers. However, their cards are from 2010 and 2008 respectively, and our evidence, which is from Salam 12, post-states it completely. So look to our evidence to show that NextGen will be an effective and working system rather than theirs. Okay, this